among us, show of hands, has ever heard an instructor say, "Oh, don't worry about your audience, just picture everyone naked"? Close calls and misadventures of the science teacher's daughter. About 3 weeks before my dad passed away, he said, "Robin, you have a book in you." Now, my dad had a highly romanticized notion of my rock and roll misspent youth, which was fun while it lasted and spanned the Beatles to U2. But I knew Dad was clearly the more colorful character. Dad taught anatomy and physiology to pre-med students for 20 years. He went on to teach physics for 20 years. His reputation was that of the smart, capable neighborhood dad. The world was his grand experiment. Dad's preparation was helpful with an opportunity. When the family was called to the hospital, I had been hurt at work. My mom and stepdad arrived at the ER to find my dad and stepmother there with our closest neighbors, and my most reliable friends had come to support the family. At some point at this gathering, my father announces to the assembled group, "She's fine, nothing to worry about. The bullet went right through her." My mother thinks, "Wait, what? My daughter's been shot, but she's fine?" And Mom instantly recalls why she divorced Dad. He's completely nuts. Dad's brain proffers, bucket list, close call, daughter, blood, bullet, lung, 100% throughput, successful experiment. Dad thought he was God's gift to women. My entire life, I watched him flirt across the whole spectrum of the ladies. His raison d'etre experiment was to see how many women he could bed along the Pacific Rim nations, 2 continents, and multiple time zones. He flirted with my high school best friend. He was ornery and had a close call with Unctious. Truth be told, Dad was a bookish, diminutive, Jewish intellectual, not Bradley Cooper. Even after 3 mini strokes put him in the hospital, he managed to sexually harass the nurses. I come into his room at Paoli at one point, and Dad is reaching for the nurse's ID badge, clipped to her blouse, resting on her breast. And I have to yell, "Dad, no!" Dad's brain proffers, "Well, I'm already in bed." "I'm not wearing any underwear. I'm surrounded by beautiful, skilled nurses who understand anatomy. So, hospital experiment on, ladies." Dad finally disrespected the wrong group of women. I come back in the room another time, and his hands are restrained at his sides. And it's so hard to watch him, less than capable, struggling to find the right words to express himself in his capacious vocabulary. Some of the anesthesiologists, physicians, and surgeons working at Paoli recognize Dad's name, Arnold Gourneau, and they come to see their erstwhile science teacher. After Paoli, we moved Dad to hospice, and the last thing he said to me was, "I'm okay here." And I like to think that he knew where he was and that he was preparing for the penultimate experiment. Dad and I shared an identical approach to death, no fear, because we know there's a soulful spiritual eternity bathed in pure joy and light following the physical world. On day 2, Dad lost his speech, and he was in a pristine silence. I washed his face, I cleaned his teeth and tongue. I combed his hair till it was just right. You know, in case a good-looking lady chaplain should pop up. I watched his urine cease, his blood pressure weaken, and his breath diminish. And I thought and felt everything for my academic mentor, my constant champion, my first teacher and greatest influence. And while he was an enormous pain in my ass, I miss him, and he's always with me. I have his sense of humor, and he pierced my ears when I was 12. But that's another story. Merci beaucoup, c'est fini.